If you've been playing Crimson Desert, dig its gameplay loop, and plan to put many more hours into the game, building out your Greymane Camp is going to be crucial in supporting Kliff and his compatriots in their adventures across Pywel. In this video, we'll be going over how to build up your Greymane Camp, addressing pain points you'll run into along the way, what a fully expanded encampment offers you, and how to maximize its output to best support you as you play.
This video is powered by Crimson Desert from Pearl Abyss.
In order to build up the Greymane Camp, you'll need to have progressed through Chapter 3 of the game to establish its foundations. Doing so will unlock 3 Greymane faction questlines: Scattered Embers, Grounds of the Sunrise, and Greymane Commissions. In order to build out the camp, you'll need to focus on the latter 2 of the 3. We advise getting started on these right away once they've been unlocked, progressing through them as you progress through the rest of the game. The earlier you start, the better, particularly as numerous important steps require you to pass time in order to complete them. Grounds of the Sunrise is the primary questline for building out your camp, going back and forth between missions where you're recruiting new Greymanes and then missions where you are using those Greymanes to expand the camp's footprint. The Greymane recruitment missions are simple. You'll speak to Marius at camp, he'll give you some intel on the whereabouts of lost Greymanes, and then you'll venture to that location to inform those Greymanes of the new digs. Greymanes come in 2 flavors: dispatchable Greymanes and vendor Greymanes. The former are comrades you can send out to complete various missions in Pywel to add more resources to the camp's reserves, and the latter are Greymanes that stay at the camp and offer different services, such as selling you new gear, or maintaining a farm you can eventually develop. Dispatchable Greymanes have different specialties. Some are better at logging, some are better at mining, some are better at farming, etc. When speaking with Ross at the camp, you'll bring up a list of available missions for you to send Greymanes on. The more you explore Pywel, the more missions you'll have available. Each mission will be focused around a different area of expertise. If you pick a Greymane that specializes in that task, it'll boost your gains. It should be noted that any Greymane can complete most dispatch missions, but there are a few that require you to include a Greymane with that specific skill set. Each Greymane either has a variety of different skills, multiple experience tiers of a single skill, or a combination of both. Dispatch missions will always require multiple Greymanes to complete, but in order to boost gains via skill matching, you only need to have 1 Greymane with that skill deployed to that mission. There are 3 tiers of expertise: Novice, Skilled, and Expert. If a Greymane with a matching skill set to the mission type has the Novice tier of that skill, they'll produce a 10% increase in gains. If Skilled, 30%, and if an Expert, 60%. If a Greymane has multiple tiers, those gains stack, so someone that has both the Novice and Skilled tiers would provide a 40% increase, and someone that has all 3 tiers would provide a 100% increase. You, however, cannot stack bonuses across multiple Greymanes, so it's advised to only send 1 Greymane with a matching skill set to a mission, and then fill out the crew with whoever else makes sense. You can also increase gains by sending more than the minimum requirement of Greymanes necessary for the mission, with each additional Greymane providing a 20% bonus. You cannot send more than the maximum allotment of Greymanes. The final way to boost gains on dispatch missions is by donating to the church. If you've donated to the church in the region where the dispatch mission takes place, you'll increase your blessing level, with each new blessing level increasing your gains by 2%, noted in the dispatch menu as conversion. Note, while you can dispatch Greymanes and cancel missions with Ross at the Greymane Camp, you can also do this while you're not at camp too. Simply bring up the map, tab over to the faction view, and hover over any location that has a mission associated with it, indicated by an icon on the top right hand corner of the location marker. Hit the button to inspect that location, tab over to missions, and from here you can either dispatch Greymanes to this location or cancel a mission that's already underway, if need be. Each dispatch mission has an associated cost to the camp's resources and provides different rewards. As such, you'll want to balance out which missions you have Greymanes dispatched to in order to make sure you have a good flow of the right resources leaving from and coming to the camp. When a mission is completed, it'll automatically start up again, so keep that in mind when it comes to what resources you have available. You can also add resources to the camp by donating goods with Carl. but these returns are often minuscule compared to the resources gained via dispatch missions. You can also eventually unlock an item called the Seal of Devotion, which you get by clearing out the Flame Knight Castle in Demonis. With the Seal of Devotion, you can unlock contribution workers. Contribution workers allow you to hire civilians to round out your dispatch missions. By using regional contribution points, you can fill the required allotment of workers on any dispatch mission without needing to use up Greymanes with specialized skills that could be deployed elsewhere where their expertise are better suited. Once you get to a point where you have active dispatch missions all over the map at once, this becomes very handy. While you will need to do a variety of missions at first to increase the different resource allotments at camp, I recommend focusing on security missions to increase your camp's money allowance. As mentioned earlier, the other half of the Ground of the Sunrise missions are expanding your camp's footprint. In order to do that, you need to have a selection of different resources, but the later expansions require a lot of money. When I got to the fourth and final expansion, I had an abundance of almost all the resources I needed to complete it, except I was short tens of thousands of copper. I immediately cancelled all my missions that cost me money and left just my security missions, which only required the other resources, but added money to my camp's reserves. While we're on the subject, let's talk about camp expansion. When you start the Greymane recruitment quests, you'll eventually hit a wall, and the next quest in the chain will require you to expand your camp. To do so, select the Howling Hill dispatch mission and apply your chosen Greymanes to the task. In order to pass time faster when these missions are started, you have three options. The first is to go do other things. The second is to either wait by a bonfire or sleep. Both of these are on an unspecific cooldown, however, you just can't spam sleep. The third is to literally just leave your game running while you go do other things IRL, which I shamelessly did for the final camp expansion, which took numerous in-game days to complete. Camp expansions do two things. One, they provide you more space for more Greymanes to join, and once you complete an expansion, a new set of recruitment quests will become available. Two, expansions level up your dispatchable Greymanes, unlocking their additional skills or additional skill tiers, meaning that after each expansion, your gains from dispatch missions will increase. Okay, let's talk about Greymane commissions. These are simple quests that both dispatch Greymanes and vendor Greymanes will ask of you. Completing them is a great way to increase your inventory space, with each completed commission increasing your inventory by 3 slots. In order to undertake them, you need to speak to a quest's respective Greymane at camp. Vendor Greymanes never leave, so they'll always be available to talk to. However, if a Greymane with a commission has been dispatched, you'll need to cancel their dispatch mission in order to speak with them, because otherwise they're not going to be at camp. Not only does completing these quests increase your inventory space, but it will greatly increase your trust with the respective Greymane. Increasing a Greymane's trust to 100, either completing their respective quest, greeting them daily, gifting them items, or a combination of all three, will increase what those vendors have on offer to sell, as well as the amount of each item. Likewise, if you increase the trust of vendors outside of the camp, that will often result in a trade agreement between that vendor and the respective Greymane vendor at camp, allowing you to buy that external vendor's items while you're there. Essentially, if you max out your camp and build trust with outside vendors, ultimately, any item you can buy in the game will all eventually be available at the Greymane camp. You can start to see how building up the camp can be useful, huh? There's one Greymane commission that is essential to complete, and that is Bryce's. You'll need to have Bryce join your camp before it comes available, but depending on how many other Greymane commissions you've completed, you might not see it pop up, even if he's already at camp. Simply complete Greymane commissions until Bryce's quest becomes available. Speak with Bryce, and he'll have you travel to Timberturn Wainwright in order to build a wagon. Wagons are used for trade, and trade is a great way to expand how much money your camp has. If you thought the Greymane camp's expansions were getting expensive, wait until you see how much it costs to rebuild Payloon. Trade goods that you found on your journey can be dropped off with Carl at the camp for packing. You can then take these trade goods to a variety of trade posts. the closest one being the gold leaf merchants. You can also buy trade goods from the same merchants as long as you visit them with a wagon for the items to be loaded onto. You'll want to do this because the value of said goods fluctuates. One day you can buy them at a bargain, and the next you might be able to resell them to another trade post, or even potentially the same trade post you bought them from, but this time at a higher price. A handy tip when controlling the wagon: stick to the roads. Wagons can break if you take them over even slightly perilous terrain, requiring you to build a new wagon to replace it if it bursts into timber. I'm serious, these things are fragile as f***. Be careful. Let's round out this guide by talking about the farm and the ranch. Eventually, you'll be able to recruit Ben and Kamu. Ben manages the ranch, while Kamu manages the farm. At the ranch, you can pick up various animals in the wild, such as goats, pigs, and cows, and drop them off back at camp. As long as you have both genders of the same species, these animals will eventually breed, producing offspring that will eventually grow into adulthood. These animals, like female goats and cows, can periodically produce resources such as milk, but can also be sold or butchered for even more resources. You can add food to the ranch's feed bin to increase the animal's quality level, netting you even more resources or increasing the price you can get for them if you were to sell the animal. At the farm, you can plant trees in order to provide vegetative sustenance. Kamu will have a limited supply of seeds available for sale, but you can increase his offering by increasing your trust with certain external vendors that sell seeds. You can gain new seeds also by breaking down the respective fruit or vegetable in the menu by holding down the use button and selecting Obtain Seed. Once a seed is planted, after a few in-game days, it will be ready to harvest. You can synergize the farm and ranch in a way that allows you to always have ways to easily obtain new sources of food, greatly increasing the amount of meals you can make to fuel you on your journey into Pywel. Before we wrap, let's talk about the final Greymane vendor you can unlock, Diedrich. Unlike the other vendors that are found by following a rumor that Marius offers, Diedrich is a character you simply stumble upon. He can be found at the Red Fox trading post in Delicia, a region you don't travel to until much later in the game. However, eventually, you'll get a faction quest added entitled A Familiar Voice at the Red Fox Trading Post. This will lead you right to him. In order to recruit him, you will need to fight the Queen Stoneback Crab, but for some reason, I was unable to do any damage to it. I don't know if it was bugged for me or if there was some other quest I needed to complete before it could be taken down, but I was unable to recruit Diedrich at the time of writing. However, Diedrich is the Greymane Camp's tailor, allowing you to buy new armors and outfits. So while he would be nice to have, he isn't as crucial as other vendors at camp, particularly the barber, Eric, who isn't unlocked for an annoyingly long amount of time. And that is everything to know about the Greymane Camp, an essential part of the Crimson Desert experience for those who are looking to dive deep into the game. We have a bunch of other guide videos available on this channel, so for everything Crimson Desert, stay right here on GameSpot.